Hello there, I'm Lauren, and welcome to Principal Studio. This is a space where we explore the questions, experiences, and principles that influence the way we live. Lately, I've been thinking about why the queer community evokes such strong negative feelings and sometimes even harmful actions in others. And the further along I get on my own journey toward self acceptance, the less I question whether being part of the queer community is right or wrong. Instead, I've been more interested in understanding how people arrive at their beliefs in the first place. So today, I want to unpack 3 commonly expressed beliefs about the queer community. Not to tell you what to believe, but to encourage all of us to consider why we hold the beliefs we have. Just a quick clarification. I'll be using the term queer throughout this video as an umbrella term for the LGBTQIA+ community. I recognize that people have different relationships with that word, but I'm using it for the sake of simplicity. I've also decided not to include religious context in this think piece for 2 reasons. The first is that incorporating religion introduces an element of morality versus immorality. And I want us to step away from that mindset for a moment because discussions about our belief systems are never black and white. The second reason is that I believe using religion as a reference could potentially get in the way of us examining our authentic feelings about the queer community. We don't get to choose our inherited beliefs, which are deeply ingrained values, fears, and biases that we absorb from our family, culture, and environment during childhood. But as we grow older and more self-aware, I do think we have a responsibility to examine them, especially when they dictate how we treat other people. So here are 3 commonly expressed beliefs or concerns about the queer community. Number 1, being queer is a choice. This one was always odd to me because it's like, okay, and why is someone choosing to be queer a problem? There's actually research that contradicts this belief and shows that one's queerness is shaped by a combination of genetics, prenatal hormone exposure, and early developmental factors that occur before and shortly after birth. Although I appreciate the efforts behind the research, I think it's also an argument for acceptance, which irritates me a bit because people should not have to be convinced through scientific evidence that the queer community is worthy of respect and safety. The fact that we are human, just like everyone else, is enough. And let's say there was no research and being queer was 100% a choice. Again, why is that a problem? Why can't 2 consenting people choose to be together? And if we strip all the political, social, and religious context away from the belief that being queer is a choice, we're left with something very simple. And that is someone exercising their freedom to live their life in a way that feels right to them. So if you're one of those people who has a hard time accepting that, I think it could be a sign that an inherited belief is at work in the background of your mind. One you might not even be fully aware of. And that's okay. But reflecting on your authentic feelings, personal experiences, and not just the teaching of others, could help identify beliefs that align with who you are and not just who you were taught to be. Number 2, queerness threatens traditional family values. I had to look up what traditional family values means because it's such a broad concept to me. And according to Wikipedia, traditional family values are the moral, ethical, and cultural principles historically passed down through generations. They typically revolve around the foundational importance of 2-parent, heterosexual marriage, defined gender roles, and putting the collective needs of the family unit before the individual. To me, this is such an archaic, one-size-fits-all definition, and I think most of us can agree that no 2 families are alike. There's a quote in Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell that flips the traditional family values belief on its head. It reads, "That's all family is. a space to be odd. In my opinion, this is the ultimate family value. A space where everyone can just be themselves. Because why would practicing traditional family values be held with such high esteem if those values don't create a loving, kind, and supportive home? I think that believing queerness is a threat to traditional values is actually a threat to family cohesion, which is a vital protective factor for everyone in the family. For example, it's common for the queer community to be disowned by their families, and this fracture can have emotional impacts on everyone involved. So I really think we have to ask ourselves, is upholding traditional family values imposed on us decades ago worth dismantling real life family bonds? Bonds that can create joyful memories and help build a quality of life for everyone? I don't think so. And last but not least, number 3. I don't have a problem with queer people, but I don't agree with the lifestyle. My question about this belief is, what is meant by lifestyle? Does it refer to celebrating Pride Month or walking in a category at a ball? And if a queer person's day-to-day life looks remarkably similar to a straight person's, what exactly is the lifestyle being referenced? When I hear, I don't have a problem with queer people, but I don't agree with the lifestyle, my mind equates lifestyle with intimate acts. And to that I say, why be concerned about what others are doing with their bodies in the privacy of their own spaces? I can't think of one reason to care. And you know why? Because it has nothing to do with me. But I know that the thought of men being intimate with other men or women being intimate with other women makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And it's worth exploring the reasons why. The most common argument I've heard is that it goes against nature. But there's documented evidence that other species do engage in sexual relations with members of the same sex. So is nature wrong? No, nature is not wrong or right. It just is what it is. For me, it goes back to minding the business that pays me and getting upset about what 2 consenting people choose to do with their bodies pays me $0 and 0 cents. I know it's not easy to question the beliefs that we've inherited, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe. But I do think we owe it to ourselves to understand why we believe what we believe and to make sure those beliefs genuinely belong to us. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. If this conversation gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. And if you'd like to continue exploring life through the lens of Principles Studio, don't forget to subscribe. Stay curious.